Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickel is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickel.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. How is everybody doing? Today is a reading show. So in a little bit, just pop down your numbers with numerology, psychic readings. We'll dive into where naturally we go. Yeah, it's always fun. It's always a good time. So today we always start off with the topic, yes. And what I really wanted to go into was the energy of really feeling where you are in life and embracing those emotions and understanding if you're avoiding those emotions or you are seeking those emotions actively. And we're sometimes somewhere in between, right? But where are we at on the spectrum? Life has its gray areas, it surely does. And I want to say hi to everybody as they're coming in. Hello, Rez, Jessica, Kevin. Hello, everybody. And it's about what are we really seeking in life, right? So when we seek things, the more we put our energy into them, it's direct, all right? And the more direct we are, the more we're going to understand, like, the direct response of that we seek. We can be met with, let's say, the actuality of our manifestation, or we could be met with rejection. We could be met with confusion, and it can produce, feelings of euphoria or fear, or just everywhere you can imagine. Like, I'm sure you've thought about within your life, like, oh, the last time I tried to manifest something, did it go well or did it not go well? And I think that's kind of fun to talk about and very human. Like, what happened the last time you tried to manifest something really big and important in your life? And just look at the contrasts. Like, when has it gone really well? And when has it gone really not so well? And when has it kind of just been wah, wah, wah? Like, sometimes there's not much energy behind the things that we manifest. Sometimes it's like, well, that didn't really take off. And there's reasons because of that. And was it because of us? Was it because of the energy that we were in synergy with? Was it because of this force? Maybe because there's a higher, plan for you that's even better and it's steering you away, or, maybe it was a timing thing and you just weren't patient. There's so many things. So in the end, like, did you find yourself continuing on with what you seek? Like, going, okay, well, I got what I want. So next step. So what comes next? Or I didn't get what I want. So I wanted this for a reason. So have I learned that I need something different? Or have I learned that, no, these are my needs and I have to continue to be brave and I have to continue to be, strong and congruent in these needs. This is who I am. And I really think, there's so many circumstances in life. Like, I'm very compassionate where sometimes things just happen to us. Things just happen to us in a way where, we're not omnipotent. We can't see things coming. We don't know always how to react to things. Sometimes we are just greatly overwhelmed and we're underprepared, or sometimes things do happen in a way where it's just not very just. But I do feel like we have so much power. So, just in most of the moments within your life, when you've had the ability to truly choose, you've truly known your power. And with that, we can build palaces or we can dig our own graves. I know that sounds very harsh, but think about your power. Like power is like oomph, right? So with that oomph, do we ascend like a rocket, like whooshoo, oomph? Or do we descend and go oof, like, like a heaviness, right? And life is about so many different variables of that. Like we've descended into moments where we're like, what is going on? And, like the dark night of the soul or spiritual madness. I'm sure you've heard multiple names for it. And a lot of times our descent is what gets us into spiritual work sometimes. Not, everyone's so different. Everyone's so different. But sometimes, like, we are just pulling at our hair and we're like, what is going on? Like, there has to be more to this, or I don't feel like I'm in my body. I don't feel like I am real. This isn't what I signed up for. And you start to go, okay, what really is real? And you start to touch the parts of yourself that are real. And so it does take, right, the enlightenment, but also the descent. And so while we have, let's say, our power in walking forward and enacting and being present in our life, return back to the question, like, what do you avoid and what do you seek? And for some of the things we seek, we actually, even though we want them, we're actually quite scared still of them, or we're actually quite overwhelmed or anxious about them. And we have many steps that we still, as much as we seek, we avoid. So we say like, oh, I want this, like I want the job, or I want the relationship, or must be nice. People do that, must be nice. I wish I could have this. I want to do, better things for myself, but I just can't. And there's compassion in that because the human experience is so difficult, but it's just like, are you avoiding the things that you want when you say that? Because we all have these little moments where we can always choose and lean into the energy of having. And when you have it, like you become it. Like and vice versa, to when you become something, you have something. So to lean into the having, and it's okay to avoid things, because it teaches us about ourselves too. As long as we're willing to look at ourselves as we avoid, and we're willing to look at ourselves as we seek, I think that's where, the magic is at, because there's a reason why we repel things. That's perfectly normal. That's perfectly healthy. There's a reason that there's boundaries. There's a reason why our gut tells us, no, this is not a good idea. Or even though I want this, this doesn't make me feel very good. We have to listen to that. And if we don't, we have devastating results, even if it looks good on paper, even though if it seems beautiful and, everything is on a silver platter, or why wouldn't I want this? We have to listen to, you know, our gut. There's a reason why we pull back, and there's a reason why we go forward. Some about the times where you've gone forward and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would I ever do this? Why would I ever want this? Why does my energy go this direction, right? And then the opposite, right? I'm repelling, but this seems so wonderful. Why do I feel so unexcited? Have you ever, I think that's like a good indication sometimes. Have you ever got something, whether it's on Christmas morning, or it's like, let's say, an acceptance letter, or someone gives you exactly what you asked for, and you're just not as excited for it? You're not as excited for it, and it's because you kind of really didn't want it. And like, on what level did you not really want it? Um, and even the stuff that, let's say, we get for ourselves, like think about the stuff that we buy and we go, oh gosh, like I want it. It affirms something within ourselves. And then, like, the things just stay in our closet. Like we never put them on, we never wear them, we never start the new hobby. Things pile up in a corner in our room. We say we want to go do things like, I don't know, go to the gym or something. I don't know. I'm just making up a simple one. Or like go for walks, and we're avoiding it. We find ourselves avoiding it, and because there's something in there that challenges us to understand what's really going on. Maybe we really don't want it, or maybe it's challenging us to be different, and we have to change who we are on these minute levels to actually be truly who we are. We have to, like, w- it's okay if we lose battles to win to win the war, right, of who we are. It's okay if we struggle and we don't get it right, but it's all for the greater good. It's all for the greater good, and the greater good includes ourselves. I'm a firm believer of, when we activate our power and our truth, or when we're living from our heart, it doesn't have to be all things perfect at all time, or all always figuring it out. But when we enact these parts of ourselves, we get to share this vibration that goes out, because we're always sharing energy. We're always sharing energy. And it helps people to be a little calmer. It helps people to be less overwhelmed and agitated themselves on the most subconscious level. And, the more present we are in our life, the more people start waking up too from that subconscious level as well. And it's not because we talk to them, it's not because we prove things to them, it's not because we push them. It's just we're being. We're being, and we are so much the product of our environment, right? So even if you're around people just for a short amount of time, whether it's family or friends or coworkers or even a neighbor, like, you will transmit something to either, help them or sometimes complicate things. But honestly, the environment of the places that we go repetitiously, if you give out a lot of love or peace, or something to better your life with that intention, that does radiate and that does truly help the people around you. But you have to just, you don't know. You don't know to what level someone's consciousness will accept that, or even what level their subconsciousness accepts it, or what symbolism, right, that transmits for a person. Sometimes people feel love transmitting from you, and they get angry, or they get fearful, or um, they do not feel it as the same thing that it is, because it has a different symbol to them. So it's like, you can have the best intentions. You can have the most, like, pure of hearts, you know, effusions, for somebody. But it's just, is that even a word? Effusions is the way that you transmit your energy, but you don't know how it's going to be received. So most times it will be received well. I do believe that most times it will be received well, because that's the intention. But we're so different. And that's how we learn, we change and grow, and we mirror, and we understand it has to be different. It has to be not so easy. So just work on yourself, go into your power, understand what you're really seeking and what you're really avoiding, and put out the most loving intentions you can for yourself, or the most helpful intentions you can for yourself. Don't we always want to help ourselves? I would imagine we do. And things will work far better with the people you attract around you, what you attract for yourself. And if you're helping yourself, you're going to be more at peace with looking at what you do avoid and what you do seek. Like, that's the whole thing. There's no right answer, but when we're kind to ourselves and helpful to ourselves, we immediately can observe things with more flexibility and understanding. And so it doesn't have to be rainbows, fairies, and unicorns. It's just, wouldn't you like to see more clearly? I would imagine everybody would, because if you see more clearly, you get more details or you get more knowings that smack you across the face where you're just like, oh, right? You're like, oh, I missed that before. Now it all comes together. Like, think about it. Like, when you've had just an aha moment, you could have been given this information from yourself or someone else for years, and it just comes together so clearly, and you're like, I get it now. When we are good to ourselves and healthy, our bodies are healthy, our minds are healthy, our emotions are healthy, our spirit is aligned, uh, you have more of those moments. I mean, those are synchronicities. Like, we talk about synchronicities and we're like, oh, like, will I see the feather? Feathers are awesome, by the way. Will I see a penny? That's awesome too, by the way. Will I manifest this or that? What's the synchronicity? And it's just like, yes, those are things, but it's just like the clarity within ourselves, that those are some of the most beautiful synchronicities. Like, I get it now, right? It comes together. All my hard work comes together. So, yep, those are the things that I wanted to speak from the heart. And I'm going to continue to say um hello to people coming in. Hello, Mary. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Courtney, Ward, Aspen. Hello, everybody. Paula, Tina. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Um, yeah, maybe take a couple questions, go into readings. I will just go with the flow. So let's see here. I'm just reading some comments. Um, let's see here. Let's see here. Someone's talking about it's hard to stay grounded and conscious based on our environment and our surroundings. I think it was you, Kelly, that said put pause between thought and action. And it's so true. I might have said that. Some of the things I remember I say, some of the things I don't remember I say. But that's a great thing. So let's embrace it, right? Whoever said it, thank you. Because um it's it's powerful to pause. It's a power to pause. And I think it's important to continue to think within our life what gives us power, because no matter if we're thinking or we're acting, that is active energy, and it's good to be in the greatest amount of flow we can be. But if we are choosing to pause, um, we are taking that energy and we are magnifying it for a moment and saying this, right? And we can do it with ourselves and really take pause, or we can do it even in conversation with others. Like, when we pause, it gives emphasis. This is important. Take a look at this. Give time to this. So, yeah, I think we do have to take more pauses within our lives. And a lot of times we distract ourselves from those moments of pause. And staying grounded, it is something that is a practice and an intention. And I think some people naturally have more earth energy than others. Like, that's a whole concept within itself. A whole topic within itself. Like, some people are just very watery beings, or fiery, or airy, or earthy, with the constitution of kind of who they are. So they will find themselves having easier times adapting to some physical extremes, and not being depleted as much. And so um, it's funny because some people don't need as much grounding as other people, and that's a real thing. And some people need way more, way more. And that's how energy goes. I mean, even just in numerology or like astrology, but with numerology, like, you can just see in someone's numbers how naturally grounded they are, and how much help they need to encourage that, um, or encourage other areas of themselves that are depleted. So it's very important to know yourself on an energetic and physical level. It's not just an emotional thought-based thing like I need to be more grounded. I need to do these things for myself. Of course that will help. And of course to be conscious of that. But yeah, some people just need it way more than other people. And it's everyone is given a different hand in life. So you might need a bunch of grounding, for instance, like one person versus another, but you're not going to need to do as much in another category. Another person's going to have to work a whole lot in another category. There's checks and balances for everything, right? So sometimes we go, oh, why me? And it's just, I promise you, like you have a gift in another category that people are just like, I have to do so much work to have this. Um, if you are very grounded, then that means that you probably don't have a lot of air energy. Not necessarily, it's more complicated than that, but just as a very simple example. And so people who have a lot of air energy, sometimes they can just like write and away they go and they could like finish a book in a night, whether reading it or writing it. They're, they can speak off the cuff, let's say presentations. Um, they just have this gift for gab. And someone who has a lot of earth energy, they're not necessarily going to be so quick to start to use those kind of expressions and communications. So again, I could get into it, but we all have our gifts. Um, let's see. Let's see. I guess we're going into readings. We are going into readings. Sometimes I like to talk, everybody. Sometimes it's good to talk. Um, all right, so let's go into some readings. So everybody who wants a reading, you know the drill. Let me know that you do indeed want one. That helps consent. Please pop down your numbers. That always helps me to get into your energy way more effectively and faster for the time that we do have. And if you have a question attached to things, cool. And I just pull wherever I go. And that's how we do it. So we're going into readings in just a moment. I'm going to take a drink of my water. That's how I do it. Okay. Let's see here. Someone popped on their numbers. Okay. Right. I think this is Mary. So I'm going 6 to 1957. Okay. Attitude 8. Personal day 2. And I think life path 2. Let me just double check. 3, 4. Yep. No, 3. That's a 3. Life path 3. Okay, cool. That's why you double check the map. And then you're in a cycle of 6. All right. Okay. So with Mary, the first thing that kind of like jumps out at me is your personal day number. And I don't know if we've ever talked about your personal day number before, Mary. But it's like people's first impression and not everyone's conscious of it. But when someone has a 2, there's a gentleness. And so that gentleness can work really well when you're around sometimes other women, or it can work really well if you are in spirituality or healing when there's like a softness needed and a sensitivity needed. So people actually will be more open to your energy because they feel right away that quality first. So when in doubt, if you want to be like kind of sweet or compassionate, people actually would more so lean into that with with you. You just kind of have to like embrace it, because sometimes we have nervousness, right? And we still have these strong gifts and qualities, but our nervousness goes like, oh, that's not gonna go so well for me. And the funny thing is, because you just naturally have that about you, it still actually will to a certain degree. But if you lean into it, it absolutely will. So there's a gentleness that comes out with your energy. And it's great because a two will pull people in a corporate or business like setting, or when you are around, let's say, a lot of masculine energy, whether it's men, or it's like a more, let's say, dominated environment where people kind of want others to, I guess, submit to them sometimes, like, hey, I'm the boss, you do this, and I need someone to do this and this. The two person can be taken advantage of more so often, because that sensitivity and that gentleness is like, oh, okay, you are a giver, or you are somebody who can like help, so I'm going to give you this role, and I'm not going to see you as an equal always. So do you understand how there's these contrasting things that the numbers can do in different environments? um so it's kind of like lean into the fact that you have this natural feminine energy. Again, your chart might not actually like speak that about you um, to the T, but lean into that on the initial impression. So it's funny. Some people's chart is like what you see is what you get, right? Actually, your first impression is very correct, and other people are quite different. So it's important to speak that as an energetic law, so people know that as well. But with you, Mary, lean into that, and then you have an attitude 8. So the way that you communicate actually is a little bit different than what we described, even though, like, let's say you know that about yourself. The way that you communicate is you would actually prefer to take charge. You would prefer to have the reins to do things, because you put, your all into it. And when someone puts their all into it, they want things to be done right. They want things to be done well. And so, how can I say it? It's not always you prefer to lead, but it's like you prefer to like make sure that things are done well. And so you prefer to like step up if someone needs help, or you're just assertive. Okay. So it's important for you to be those things, because an 8 is a person who wields a lot of power in knowing the right things to do. It's a truth number, and they have to like have autonomy with how they speak and act. And if they don't, they actually will get depressed. They actually will feel very frustrated. They actually will even feel angry. So the personal day for you has this sweetness, but the attitude number actually needs to have this assertiveness, and to lean into that within your life to truly feel like you are activating the life that you want, and also to be around people that help nourish this assertiveness, where they like your matter of fact attitude, or your advice, or your to the point information. Um, or they're at least like, you know there's good synergy, when even they're just like, wow, that's a little harsh, right? At least there's the good synergy of support. And yeah, I like how Courtney mentions the word delegate. Yeah, 8 energy delegates. And so you have to have a support system around you delegating. And it's very important to find it. So you're a life path 3 as well. And when someone's a life path 3, it's very important that they're in an environment where they are around people for their job, or they're active around their family and friends, like they're socializing. 3 is the most extroverted number, and you have to be around people in order to do your mission. Like some people can be on a computer and it's like da 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 da, like Zoom helps fulfill the mission. Don't get me wrong, but with a 3, you have to be around people to fulfill your mission. You have to be social. You have to be seen. You have to be heard. And the 8 energy is opposite from the 3. So it makes it really paramount to be comfortable with yourself and be around people that help you to be comfortable with yourself. Because the 8 goes, I'm going to hold back the energy, but this is really what needs to be done. And here you go. And the 3 energy goes, la 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 la, like let's have fun. What needs to be done? And so it's very you have a multifaceted personality, Mary. And I'm just like highlighting this. You're in a cycle of 6. So when someone's in a cycle of 6, it's all about family and friends, your close relationships, and reevaluating close relationships. So it really does call for you to make your support system again more authentic to you, and that helps your emotional health and your mental health, and that honestly gives you the invitation, even though difficult, to completely change your life and go, I feel like I'm stepping into the new me. And so if you can understand that, Mary, it's kind of it's a call to shake things up on a level that you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like these things, yes, I can understand, but I don't know how I'm going to quite do this because I don't really live my life always like that. And it's like, yeah, since we don't always live our life a certain way, it's the call to slowly or really surprisingly shake things up. So put it out there, start walking to shake things up little by little or a lot by a lot. But this is about shaking things up. Okay. So emotionally, things are going to change a lot this year in those departments, Mary. I hope this makes sense. It's about shaking the energy up and being yourself on that next level. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm glad you can understand this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, change is a heck of a thing. It really is. Sometimes it's great, and other times it's like, oh, growing pains. Or like, why is this happening? Change is so strange. Tammy asked a question. Um, Tammy. Okay, give me birth date. Let me take your numbers, Tammy. All right. Well, you gave me your spouse and your numbers, so this is like it takes more time, but we'll look at things for a second. So he's an attitude 7 and you're an attitude 6. So right away, you do operate from different departments with the way that you communicate. So his numbers, he's a double 7. Okay. So actually, he's not a double 7. Why am I saying that? He is a 7-3, it's a 4. He's an, okay. Got it. I think he's a life path. Yep. I'm just doing this. 3, 3. Yep. Yep. 4. Okay, cool. That's good. And then see, this is why I'm like my brain is going in like multiple departments because I'm looking at your chart and then I'm looking at his chart and then I'm connecting the 2 charts. So I'll just go slowly. I can't do it all at once. I can do it all at once with one person, but with 2 people, oh my goodness. So when looking at both of these charts, right, the way that you communicate, Tammy, and him, they're different, so it leads to misunderstandings. He is very like closed up sometimes, and you're like, I want to help. Like, what can I do for you? You go like above and beyond, and you're very like protective of him, and you're very like present with working on issues. Whether you get angrier because you're like, I need to work on the issue, or whether you're just like, I just want to help. You're very present with working on the issues. And with him, he's an attitude 7. Attitude 7s naturally, they like close up when they're stressed, or their defense mechanism is to um go away and think about things for a long time. And they don't always know how to express themselves. Like it's the most introverted number in numerology. They could be actually much more extroverted in other categories, but the way they communicate, it's very like they don't always show their hand, even if they love you. Like they don't always show you their hand. And sometimes when you pull it out of them, they'll be like, whoa, I needed that. And other times they'll be like, no, like you're pushing me, I'm closing up even more. So it is very difficult to sometimes have heart to hearts because they are so mental based. Um, with the numbers, you being born on the 24th and he was born on the 12th, it shows that there was like an instant connection, because your numbers are in harmony there. There was just an instant connection, an instant rapport, instant chemistry, like feeling like I'm vibing with this person. It was just kind of, as you found out the way that you communicate, like the chemistry is there definitely with what enacted the relationship, but the communication has made things, um, throughout the relationship past, the funness of it a little, continuously a little bit difficult. So that's what creates the head scratcher a lot. I'm identifying that. So 3 4 life path 2. I'm just doing your life path number. Hold on. 4. Okay. So, and here's the thing too. So in the relationship, it actually is very natural for you to lead. I would have to look at more of both of your charts because remember, this is just a slice. Like I would have to do your names, and your names are very important when it comes to the relationship and what your dynamic are. They're incredibly important. But it is very natural for you to lead. It's very natural for you to just like you're an actor. Like you just jump on things that are important. And again, he has more sensitive energy. Um, I still want to look at more of his numbers, but I'm aware that he has more sensitive and almost soft energy. And again, he like pulls back. So he gets overwhelmed easily too, as well. He is a life path 2. And when people have life path 2s, um, unless they're really, really hurt and they're not being listened to, they're pretty straightforward in relationships on a certain level. Again, his 7 would make him less straightforward, but a life path 2, like their driver in life is they just want a happy relationship. And that's really important. Now, again, I would have to see other numbers involved, and I'm just being very forthcoming within that. If he feels like, and if he's expressed to you that he doesn't feel understood, or he's asked for certain needs and he feels like, no, you're not doing them, or let's say you're avoiding them, that's the only way that a life path 2 can start to act very differently than what you have expected. The life path 2 that he has actually makes him quite secure in a relationship, more so than the average person. So if those clues aren't present, it's just a matter of miscommunication and pulling back. And sometimes when a life path two's needs aren't met, they will seek things out emotionally around them. There's a heads up within that. So I'm just giving you a heads up within that. And you can feel like, I don't feel like I have this person's full attention. But to really do a blind side, there has to be way more going on with the numbers present. So I want to give that to you. You do have a life path 1 and he has a life path 2. So that's like a partner relationship where if he's comfortable supporting and following, it's actually a nice dynamic in a sense. But it's just the communication that can completely like tear away that cooperation. So you have to watch out for that. Um, and I hope that makes sense. I would just at the end of the day, Tammy, because you asked me the question about what's going on, you have to have some really direct conversation, very gentle with the way that you start out, but direct conversations to see if his emotional needs are met. Because he's a sensitive guy, and based on those answers, that's going to give you a lot of clues to what's really going on. Because he could actually be doing nothing, but emotionally he's pulling away, and there could be very very big problems within that. So I'm going to give that to you, and that's where I'm at with it. I will pull a card on it too because I feel compelled to. Let's shuffle this deck. Okay. So it's kind of like this is a situation. I got like the rescue card, but it's in a placement that lets me know like you need to be direct and careful with finding some of the answers, and reading between the lines with some of those answers because he's not going to be always so direct with you. We talked about that, but you can't try to overdo this one. You actually have to let him come to you a little bit more. I know that's counterintuitive, but it's like I need you to do the work like you kind of do, but be gentle and listen and then see how he responds to you. And that will be very telling. And also, it will allow him to make a choice with how he wants to continue to communicate with you and to connect with you. And he does have to have time and he has to feel like he's making the choices. So, don't try to rescue things right now. He has to rescue himself and he has to try to put an effort with what's going on. And I do feel like if he's healthy and there's not other things going on with him with how he's taking care of himself, he will meet you with what you're seeking to talk about actually in a way that would surprise you. As long as he doesn't have distractions or addictions in his life, he will show up and have that conversation with you of where things are at. You just have to give him space and do not try to fix it right now. Do not try to fix it right now. And I'm going to say it like that. Okay. Send love to you. It's a difficult situation. All right, Karen. All right, Karen, I'm going to you. 1270, and that's going to be attitude 6. It's going to be a personal day 3, and it's going to be a life path 5, I believe. Let me just double check that. That's right. Yep, that's right. Then you're in a cycle of 4. Okay, so Karen, it's always an interesting cycle for like it's a slower going time, but it invites you to it's very classic. It invites you to take, better care of your daily routines with what really supports you and changing around your house, whether it's fixing things within the house, reorganizing things within the house. It invites you to look at your foundations in a way where it's like the little minute things is what makes us feel like we are at ease. And it invites you to take more control back into your life. You're in a cycle of 4 with this energy as well with knowledge, and it will be a time where you're called to take more classes or to teach. It's one of the two or both always. um, you need to learn, you need to expand your head, and the way that you think on things and your perspectives are made to grow during this time. So it's very important that you lean into the growth of the mind, so you can actually change the growth. You can merge with the growth and change your surroundings. That's what I'm trying to say. So you're an attitude 6 as well. So the person before you was an attitude 6. So there's always similar messages and meanings, even though things are tailored to you as I'm talking with the attitude 6. Attitude 6 means that you're a person that goes above and beyond, and all you want is just a thank you. Very hardworking individual, very responsible, takes care of others around you, and people really do gravitate to you because you have that personal day 3 number. When someone has the personal day 3 number, Karen, it pulls people to them. People want to talk. You have this like light-hearted and fun energy that people feel on first impression rather safe with. Okay. They feel like, wow, this person just, if I said hi, they would say hi back to me. So it invites people into your energy. And because of that, because you have that gift so naturally, you can network way more easier than the average person. You are very likable and again can establish opportunities based on first impressions, especially if you're leading very easily. um, you are a life path 5. So being a life path 5, my brain is my brain, yeah, that's right. See, I always overthink things sometimes. You are a life, maybe you do too, maybe that's why I said it. You're a life path 5, and when someone's a life path 5, they need to have exploration within their life on a physical level where they are traveling, and everyone can travel. It does not have to be international. It probably is for people with 5 energy. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, 5 energy just wants you to move and be active and consume. It's like the variety of life. So as long as you're active and you feel like you're not doing the same old, you'll be happy. That really translates to work, and that translates to, social environments too. Like, you need to have multiple groups to feel truly stimulated. And so these are really important cornerstones in your happiness. Ultimately, like, you're a person who's very like quick with how they decide things and they do things. And so with your cycle 4 energy, you might feel a little bit like stifled this year because you feel like things aren't happening quick enough with your plans. And this is a time of building and tonifying and fortifying. So go easy on yourself, and in the meantime, just call on friends and have fun and kind of go like, it's all coming together. I'm just going to have my movement and fun and my activation in other departments. And again, that 4 invites you to take classes and to stimulate your mind. So if you want something new, do those things, okay? The rewards, especially with your life path 5, come more so next year. Things will really get going and moving and have that easiness and have that flow next year much more for you. This year, just be a little patient. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So let's see here. Karen, hopefully that makes sense. And let's see here. Summer, I'm going to pull some cards for you, Summer. You asked for a reading. Let's see here. All right. Right. Let's see what we got. The cards are falling. It's always great. All right. This is for Summer. Okay. So, Summer, right now, it's a time of manifesting new things within your life. It's a time where you're like, I want something different, and you're putting a lot of effort into thinking about what do I want? What do whatever. Like if only. And so that's great, but I want you to when it comes to yourself, so don't when you're manifesting with other people or other environments or opportunities, that's a synergy at play. That's a synergy at play, excuse me. And that synergy, it has a push and pull effect. All right. So you're going to influence it, and then the other energy is going to influence you. And then you kind of just like dance and see if you're a good mix. Right. Um, those are always more complicated to manifest, but you can. What makes it able to manifest those situations with others is if you are manifesting for yourself first effectively. Okay. So there has to be a tremendous amount of energy within yourself first to have the power when you're manifesting with other people. And I'm talking about for good things. Like, I'm talking about if you want like good things, like I just want a great job, a healthy relationship, wonderful friends. If you manifest first for yourself, then some of those things have pull with other people. So I got the wishing well card for you. And so that's like I said, the hopes and dreams. And so I need you to make a list of what you can do for yourself and be in your own power, and then act on those things. Become those things. Be strong in those things. And it's going to teach you, and we talked about it earlier in the show, it's going to teach you about what you really want and who you really are. We have to be in motion of finding out if we really want things. Sometimes we can't just go, I want that, please come to me, I hope it comes to me, I hope it comes to me. No, we have to go out and get it. And whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction, it lets us know if that was really good for us, that experience. And sometimes if things are bad for us, it still represents something very, very important to our core values. And you have to know about your core values. And if you know about your core values, you can manifest very strongly like a magnet. So, what are your core values? Do you know that? What are you pulling to you with difficulty or ease? This is very, very important. It's letting me know that like you have stood up for yourself in the past. So you do have, you are making strides. I'm just aware, like, you have stood up for yourself. Like, you've put down your boundaries of what you want, you've cut ties, you have really actually activated some of the things that we talked about. But I'm aware as well as like you're drawn back sometimes. Like, it's like you have these boundaries, but then you're drawn back, and then you're just like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, or it's very hard. So there's a lot of energy that still has to be released from the past, even though you're doing everything like good for yourself. So when people have to release a lot from the past, I really suggest whether it's like Reiki or meditation, like or healing, or even like yoga is great. You gotta move. You gotta continue the moving, whether someone helps you or you're just moving yourself into your new energy. So more of the new energy, being very congruent with your values, and reevaluating your values on a deeper level. Going forward, it is like leading to, again, it's one of the two things going forward. Either there's just a relationship that no longer serves you, or you're going to find yourself heading into, like, with dating, you're going to hit the wall a couple times to find out what really doesn't serve you. And it's going to be heartbreaking because you're like, well, it's not like it was horrible. I wanted it to be this, you know? There's a lot that's so wonderful about it. It's like, is that so wrong? And it's just like, if it doesn't work, if it's not natural, don't fight it. It should be a natural dance. And um allow yourself to feel different qualities in relationships to understand what relationships can be. Just because one thing was really good doesn't mean that it will never be good, or it will never be good again. Just because one thing is just absolutely amazing doesn't mean life doesn't have a million other experiences for you of what's absolutely amazing. So you have to change the way that you're willing to do things. And sometimes that will take immense sadness. and things will have to come apart and break, and it will feel like the opposite's happening, and you're just like, this is the last thing I wanted, but the opposite has to happen to create the new conditions to give you something even better, something that you couldn't have even imagined. Okay. So, what I'm saying to you is, what all ties this together is this wishing well card. So, your wish actually is granted. You're going to get something even better than you imagined. But here's the thing, when you wished for it, you did imagine it. So, you have to like let things go, heal, break away from the past, and be okay with how hard that's going to be. And as soon as you're okay with how hard it's going to be, it's going to get a lot easier. And so there's a lot of healing in relationships. There's a lot of healing with family too. But it's a very, very, so you can understand this. Thank you, Summer. Um, yeah, it's a lot about understanding the past as you go forward within the future. Okay? And yeah, loving yourself more is huge. And as long as things are helpful, we lean into them, even if they feel not as good as some of the stuff that's not great for us. Um, it's lean into the vibration of health and help. I'm you're gonna come out of this even better. You're gonna come out of this even better than you imagined. So right now, you have to just, the last thing I'm gonna say is, you have to suspend your belief and have encouragement with the most positive things around you to keep you going. Okay? And as you're going, it's not gonna feel the most positive. It's not, but you gotta keep going because you're not where you're supposed to be. And the strength of you is trying to tell you that. Okay, it's like, this is not the final destination, this is not the final stop. You got to keep going. In fact, you're already linked to where you need to go, but you got to keep going. Do not overthink it based on the old rules. Okay, so I'm going to give you a lot of love within that. The message is keep going. It's the wish has been received. It's better than you could ever imagine, but you gotta cross the bridge first, and the bridge is your own bridge. The bridge is your own change, your own love. Okay, you're stepping onto the bridge. Keep going. You're not over the bridge yet. Keep going. All right. Let's see here. Where am I going? I'm gonna go to Ward. He gave me his numbers. To move things around. It's fun sometimes, just a bunch of cards, moving them around, making sure they're not falling, pieces of paper. Okay. Ward, the 5/16, 1977. Oh, I love it. Your attitude 3, your personal day 7. You are a life path 2. Yeah, let me just double check this. Yes, and then you're in a cycle of 1. Okay, so Ward, I actually love a lot of the energy that I'm seeing. I just want to give you a heads up. There's one thing that I'm aware of as I see. Um, you have a personal day 7. And when someone has a personal day 7, sometimes they accidentally get overlooked because it's such a number that pulls back and observes that sometimes it can go and so it's easy to like look and understand, but it's sometimes hard to be seen. And sometimes a 7 doesn't want to be seen. So that's like that's part of it, you know? It's not because it's what is happening onto you, Ward. It's sometimes that you're not used to being seen. And it is a question of how much do you want to be seen? And that energy is infused into your creation. It's infused into your artistry of how you want people to know you. And so that's the game changer. If you can come in with a vibration of, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, it's okay if people misunderstand me. This is me. The right people will find me and I will be granted the right gifts based on that. Whether it's contests for my talents or, people to love and appreciate me. That will, like I said, ooze into everything that you do and what you stand for. And so that is something that does need to be healed. I'm well aware of that. So it creates a question in the air. It creates a question in the air. I do feel like I think this is a very good year for you. I think next year is going to be even more ginormous for you with your successes. But this year is a very good year for you to stand out. And you do feel like you're in a different space. Like you actually do feel like you want to be seen. I'm well aware of that. But it's like, to what extent are you opening your hearts and being vulnerable? Because you are a quite sensitive person. And you're a very like I just see with your numbers, you're a very naturally talented poet. Like you have all the numbers of detail, introspection, creativity, just these deep considerations to see life in a different way. The way that you feel life is more rich and textured than sometimes your average person. I'm aware of that from your numbers. So I actually think you have everything that you need to be seen. It's just if you can energetically release. I don't know if the judges are looking at it right now, or if they've already looked at it, or if it's coming up. But if it's coming up, if you can energetically say, I want to be seen, I want to be seen. Yes, absolutely. And so here's the thing. They will see it as original. It's just a matter of, is it going to get into their hands and can they have a moment with it? Okay. That's the bigger thing. All right. So I do think what you produce is very original, very, very original. And so I think that naturally they will see that. It's just, will you get the recognition that you're looking for in that to understand that so you don't feel misunderstood? It's about healing the misunderstandings of life. Okay. So that's what I'm getting, Ward. Your poetry is beautiful. Keep going. You're going to be an artist in more than one way, but keep going with your poetry because you're very naturally talented. So hope that makes sense. Everybody, I am saying hello. Hello, KJ, you keep coming in at the end. I see you. You keep coming in at the end. We're my love, please come in. I'm sending you a heart too. Please come in just a little bit earlier so I can grab you. If you come in earlier, I'll grab you. I promise. Okay. That is my promise to you. Come in a little bit earlier because I have been seeing your name. And I send you love. So we are 2 after the hour, everybody. I'm going to be sending you love and light, and I will see you next week. I'm wishing you a great summer as it's going. Enjoy July. Got one more week though, but enjoy that summer sun. With that said, go with love, luck, light, and don't forget to live, everybody. Take care.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.